Yo, what's up? You tuned into the Dapper Don Podcast. I'm talking about things that's moving and grooving in the culture. Everything that I've seen that just caught my eye throughout the week. I upload every Sunday on my go to my YouTube channel and watch it at Dapper Don and on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasting needs. And I wanted to start off and discussing things in the culture. First, starting off with the boy 2 Chainz. Yeah, that's right. The boy sat down with Matt Barnes for an interview, and it was a real in-depth interview. You know how they interviews got more polished than damn albums these days, because this thing was a real event. And, both of them was just smoking good, talking about, kicking shit, really, shooting shit in the wind. And he talks about his drug dealing past, right? And on his last album, Rapper Go to the League, he had a really interesting song where he's literally name dropping all the rappers he served drugs to. It's funny as shit. He said Wayne will call up and get everything but Yola. He said he'll buy everything but soft. I wonder if he regrets serving Wayne all of those all of that drugs. Like, damn, all the seizures he done had, that's a little bit of you. 2 Chainz, you kind of enabled a little bit of that, but I guess that may be where their relationship comes from. But he speaks on not necessarily that, but growing up in a family of drug dealers. He talked about, his dad always being a drug dealer. His dad never came home late from work or got stuck in traffic because he was moving and grooving and doing it the way he wanted to do it. 2 Chainz said the first time he even was in a drug bust, he was 5 years old. Then I think the next time he said he was like 12, and the next one was 15. Mind you, he's like 40 now. So I can only imagine just how traumatizing that was, like to be 5 years old. And because I don't never remember of drug bust, even though I do also come from a family that had a lot of drug dealers in it. I don't ever remember a house that I lived in getting drug busted, but I do remember having your house broken into. I don't know if that's the exact same thing, but you don't really feel it's safe. And then to think the people who did it legally did it, they can come back and do it again and take away your family members. And the thing that's also interesting is he was the only child. So you watching all of these adults moving around and you don't even have anybody to share that experience with. That could be even more crazier. That may explain why he constantly has a need for drug references in his music, because just to grow up in that. And I always kind of felt like he never talked much about the dark side of being a drug dealer, right? Because if you listen to, say, somebody who's the opposite of 2 Chainz would be like Plies. When you listen to Plies, you constantly hear about, oh, this is how much time they're giving you in prison. This is how they treat you. This is just the unfairness of what's going on. While 2 Chainz has kind of always been like these are the kind of clothes you can buy, and these are the kind of women you can sleep with, and these are the kind of drugs you can afford to use. So I guess this kind of gives me a little more in-depth on his perspective, and shows that he is very much aware of the cycle of drug dealing in our community. Because if your dad was a drug dealer, that increases your likelihood of also being the same. And for you to constantly be in a situation where people are kicking in your door, a good example was Yo Gotti. He talked about at 9 years old going through the same thing. So a lot of these guys weren't given a lot of filter between what they seen as a kid. Like when I was 9 years old, that didn't happen. I wasn't going through stuff like that. I wasn't seeing cops come in, raid, go through my toy box, go under my bed. Like at 9 years old, I was scared of the boogeyman. I wasn't scared of law enforcement. So that can really kind of create an understanding on where these people are coming from. It was a real in-depth conversation, a real heartfelt thing. I kind of feel 2 Chainz on that. It was some real shit. But somebody who I don't think is on no real shit, let me tell it, is the boy Post Malone, right? So apparently YG did an interview where he was talking about not only the death of Nipsey, that was Nipsey Hussle, All Money In gang, but he also talked about Post Malone owing him 10 grand from the NFL playoff game, Cowboys versus the Rams. So he owed him 10 grand. But YG playing with them chips though, because he say he owed Meek Mills 20 because the Rams lost to the Patriots, as you know. And I guess, with Meek and Robert Kraft having such a tight relationship, he was like, man, I'm going to put 20 on my dog. Now he put 10 and Post owes 20. So Post is like, nah, I got 20 for Cowboys. I got 20 for the Cowboys. So that's basically how their little relationship worked out. I thought that was kind of, just a little interesting thing. YG playing with them chips. YG playing about that money. Boy, Meek, you gonna pull up on them? Speaking of Dallas fans, though, I happened to actually run into a guy named Keith Yearwood. I didn't run into him. I ran into his Instagram. And on his Instagram, it turns out he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. Believe it or not. How crazy is that? Do you know who this Keith guy is? This Keith dude was the baby on the cover of Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die. Now, how many of you, just like me, thought that was Biggie's baby picture? I thought for the longest that was Biggie. That was a whole nother person. That changes everything. Why did he have a whole nother baby on his album cover when he had a baby? Although it was a girl. So what was the baby supposed to represent? Because if it was the baby picture, then I could see him saying, since I was born, I've been ready to die. Or this is a new birth to me. But he just got a random baby on the cover? That's crazy. I really think that might be one of the most iconic album covers where the artist wasn't on the cover. And that's risky too. That's risky because it's his debut album. How in nowadays world, streaming takes over. Nobody looks at an album cover anymore. Back then, an album cover was your marketing. That was 50-60% of marketing. You could stop somebody in their tracks with just a fire album cover and make them buy it. You remember like the Cash Money album covers where it'd be like a car, they'll Photoshop a car and a money tree and 2-3 half-naked women. They'll just give you something that would invoke all of the lust in you. They would be on the cover though. It would still be them on the cover. I'm trying to think who else had a really fire album cover, but it wasn't them on the cover. Who else? What rapper Go to the League 2 Chainz album doesn't have anybody on the cover? Lupe definitely did it with The Cool, but that wasn't his debut album either. Who had a debut? 2 Chainz didn't have on his debut album. It was somebody with 2 Chainz on, but his face wasn't on his debut album. Do you think that's risky? Leave your comment in the comment section. Would you drop your debut album and you not be on the cover? And does it even matter in today's era if your face is on the cover? You can literally put dog shit on the cover. Is anybody really looking? Mary What's the 411? Her face was on the cover. All the classics, man. Maybe because he felt like Biggie was unattractive. That's why he put a baby on the cover. But he was on Life After Death. I guess now maybe it was like, well, let's make them fall in love with his words first. Then we'll show him his face. Maybe that's what it was. Puff, don't say that. Don't say it ain't so, Puff. I know you ain't doing my boy Biggie like that. But another person that ain't doing it Biggie at all. And I'm not trying to throw shade at this lady because I think she a sweet girl. But your girl Ciara dropped a new fire banger, Beauty Mark. Yeah, you didn't hear about it? I ain't hear about it neither. This was news to me. The only time I heard about it is when everybody made fun of it. Why does she feel like she doesn't have to promote her album? This is weird. I think so. Give you the background because if you ain't heard about it, you probably don't know about it. Her album debuted at 87 on the charts. I think it might have sold like 2,000 copies. Now, I remember the last major artist that had an album that sold 2,000 copies was Tyga. But Tyga made a good point that his album was only on Spotify. And so that's why he only did 2,000. But he had millions of streams on that. But to say that I only was streaming now isn't an excuse. Plus, you can't say you couldn't afford to do it. That 140 million, I guess that had a cozy. I guess she felt like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep it at the house. I ain't finna go ahead and deal with y'all. I ain't finna be out here stressing myself trying to get y'all to do whatever. I'm finna drop this beauty mark. You can pick it up if you want to pick it up. Apparently had the song Level Up on it though. Level Up, I believe that had like a little dance challenge to it. It had some look, had a little bop on it. But outside of that, I don't remember even really gravitating to that project or gravitating to anything she done thus far, to truly be honest with you. You know, it's not my cup of tea, but who am I to tell her? I'm not even gonna say it's not my cup of tea, because I love R&B, especially female singers. I listen to Rihanna, I listen to Beyonce, I listen to Mary J. Blige, I listen to all of that. I can't really say I've ever been like, man, put on some Ciara. But you know how you got those throwback R&B channels? They really showing her some love. So maybe she's touring off of that. But you ain't go to Big Boy, you ain't go to Hot 97, you ain't go to the Breakfast Club. She could have killed at the Breakfast Club. I don't know. You know what? I stop and I think about that. I was thinking about something too. There's the boy Jody Breeze and there's Ciara. Both of these was hot two artists that Jazzy Faye had signed to Show Enough Records. Now the interesting thing about Show Enough Records are these two artists. I can't speak for every artist on Show Enough Records, but these are the two I know of. They both had it jumping in the summer of 2004. Jody Breeze was on the hook of Them Boys with the rap group Boys in the Hood featuring Young Jeezy. This was a young pre-TM 101 Young Jeezy on a record with him, and you got the hottest hook. You got the hook, not the hottest hook, the hook, and you had a good verse. Plus, you were a standout performance on the entire album. And Ciara had Goodies, which was a standout record. These two had it going so hot. And you had one of the hottest producers, Jazzy Faye, behind you, and you still couldn't make it pop. It's the weirdest thing, right? Because it's not like they don't have talent. Ciara still can two-step. Ciara still got a mean step game. They just not working. I guess it's that easy to get on in Atlanta. You can just get a good couple of weeks up under you, a good couple of months. I think Jody Breezy, Jazzy Faye met him at a gas station. No, a car wash, and he handed him his demo tape. That's kind of interesting, right? But that's also a two-way street, because J. Cole handed Jay-Z his demo tape outside of a studio, and you see how well that worked out. So sometimes talent can just sit back and wait for the opportunity. But I think it's best to chase the opportunity. That's where the real opportunity lies. But it worked out for J. Cole, and it technically worked out for Jody Breeze. It's just, once you give somebody something, how hard will they work for it? That's why I'm grinding so hard with this podcast shit. That's why I'm making sure I'm giving you the best content, and I'm learning whatever is going on and moving in the culture, stuff that I feel like I want to talk about, I want you to hear about. You know, that's just how I'm moving right now. But speaking of a woman who's not sitting around, who is working and who really needs that opportunity, man, Teyana Taylor. But Teyana Taylor might have finally got that cosign that she deserves. And no, I'm not talking about Kanye. Kanye is off doing something else. He doing Sunday service. I don't know why he ain't inviting Teyana. He don't want her killing that Sunday service. But anyway, Kanye's doing Sunday service. And he's more focused on that than focused on making sure the hottest artist on his label, the hottest two artists, that'll be Sean and Teyana, is getting a fair shake. It don't seem like that's really where his priorities is at. But somebody who is keeping an ear out for talent, somebody who Teyana did catch an eye from, is none other than a talented Elton John himself, Rocket Man. I guess that's what his name used to be, because that's what the name of his new movie is. I'm not going to tell you that I know a lot about Elton John, but I know that Elton John was on Tupac's Ghetto Gospel. I remember that. That's the only Elton John I can think of. And he also did the VMAs with Eminem. You remember that? Him and Eminem had a good line. I keep quoting Eminem on my podcast. Eminem is like the Jay-Z to my Joe Budden podcast. But Eminem said, me and Elton John doing a duet, never see me get to blinking and get to busting a sweat. Because, you know, he was being called homophobic at the time, and that he was kind of spreading homophobia. He was Trump before there was a Trump. Truth be told, that's what Eminem was. He was Trump before there was a Trump. But anyway, Elton John was on the VMAs with him, two-stepping, doing his thing. But he's now keeping an eye out for the young butterfly herself, Teyana Taylor. And I completely agree. I didn't Keep That Same Energy. I don't even know why that was the name of it. I think, I'm not being mean or nothing, I think they gotta soften Teyana up. Teyana got she never really shed that tomboy energy. She still got that. She still seemed like, she got to play Russell to get turned on. She got to play Russell to get turned on. That's the funny shit. But she's an amazing singer, an amazing talent. I ain't got nothing bad to say about her music. I really enjoy her voice, and she can actually sing. She'll go on Instagram, no music, no background, no filter, no nothing. Just let it rip. Let you know this really, really what she do. This really, really what she about. She was amazing talent, an amazing young lady. But speaking of somebody who's out here putting in work, the young Suge, the young Suge himself, the baby. He was not to be played with. He is who not to be mentioned, the baby. I had the women and children. He's coming. So, I don't know if I talked to y'all about this last week, but last week, the baby security was stomping a guy named Don Treg out, right? Don Treg clearly got a busted nose, a busted ribs, a broken ankle. He got a whole lot. He got a whole lot going on. And you can go on my YouTube page. I actually talk about it. But more important than that, the baby still let you know he got no problem putting in work, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's kind of getting that Kodak range for me, where it's like I know more about your antics than your actual. And we're gonna talk about Kodak, and we're gonna get into Kodak here right after I get into the baby. It's a whole bunch of ratchetness that I gotta talk about. Well, apparently the baby was in a jewelry store, flossing and glossing, getting money, because you know how get money dudes do. They get money. You know how it go. Some dude, Camco Heart, that's his name, Camco Heart, pull up in selfie mode with the phone out. Put it in selfie mode. Let you see his face. Let you see the baby face. He turn around. You know how when you and your partner videoing together or something, and you talking shit in the background, and you got him in the background when you talking shit to him? I seen it, so I thought he was just playing around. I thought he was just joking. I'm like, okay, they friends, they cool, they get along like that. Nah, he was dead ass serious. So this brings a new meaning to beating the pants off of you. This guy got stomped out so hard and so viciously, it hurt me. They beat the pants off of this guy. Literally, his pants was down by his ankles. His face was bloody. So what the guy is saying, what Camco Heart is alleging, is that it wasn't just the baby who knocked him out. It wasn't just the baby who cleaned his clock. He's saying all 5 of them jumped him for 5 minutes. That's nasty. Getting jumped in a jewelry store for 5 minutes. How does that happen? You know why you got jumped for 5 minutes and nobody did nothing? The baby was spending more money than you in there. The baby was spending more money. Hey, help the guy that's winning. Not help the guy that's winning. Don't help the guy that's winning. Help the guy that's spinning. That's their mentality. So he say that the store security is willing to vouch for him. That means he had to get up and be like, yo, y'all seen them jump me, right? Y'all seen that though. And everybody's like, yeah, we seen it. All right, y'all see, but he couldn't do nothing with me in the beginning. Well, apparently Camco Heart threw the first punch, but I don't know why this guy, the baby, can't just stay out of trouble. I don't know why he can't just stay out of trouble. But anyway, he doing what he want to do. He want to clearly knock people's head off, so I want to see what Charlamagne gonna say about it. I love hearing this reaction to the baby. It's crazy. I love hearing it. But somebody I don't like hearing about, in the sense of not like I don't want to hear him being prosperous, but I just don't want to hear about him and no more drama, is your boy Kodak. Apparently, and I know I talked about him last week about being, photo being held in custody and him saying that the cops is trying to paint him in a bad light and everybody's against him and woe is me. You know how the boy do. You know how the young man does. Well, apparently, it's a whole new situation now. The feds, the federal government, is alleging that Kodak, Project Baby, did a drive-by in a Porsche and ain't hit nothing, but he did it, and his fingerprints was found on the gun that he did it with. Oh my God. And you remember when Nipsey passed away, and he was on Instagram Live. He was like, man, I was about to slide through the projects, but some told me don't do it, man. This is a sign from God. God wasn't protecting you. He was protecting people in that projects. Apparently, he shot up an entire apartment complex, and the guy that he was shooting at wasn't even there. How stupid. I've been young, and I've been stupid. I haven't been both at the same time at this level. This ain't about him being talented anymore. This is just about him having some common sense. Why were you in a Porsche, in a gun registered to you, with paperwork that you lied on documents to get? What sense this make? Now, he gotta know at this point, jail ain't working. The threat of his life isn't working, isn't going anywhere. I can't imagine what could possibly improve anything he got going on right now. Like, I don't know where this kid is going with his life. Best of luck, but why the fuck would you do a drive-by in a Porsche with a gun that you own? Yeah, we know it's you, bro. You the only one that come around here that can afford a Porsche. We know it's you. And apparently there's some beef he had with somebody back in the day. Oh my God, this is stupid. And I'm just going to keep that same energy. I'm going to keep that same, oh my God, this is stupid energy. Because apparently from what I've seen, according to TMZ, a video leaked by one of the Dream Chasers affiliates, the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas denied the young bull access, denied Meek Mill's access. When asked, the security said, I don't know why. You just can't be here. His lawyer, Tom, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, but let's just say his lawyer, Tom, says that this was all based on racism, that they keep an active list of African American performers that they don't want stand there just based on their culture and their skin. Okay, that's fine. You don't want black people in your hotel. That's fine. This is where my beef comes in at. Don't have them performing. What sense that make? You got DJ Mustard performing. This man got 100 songs with Mustard. Of course they're going to do a set together. I can't stand that. Don't profit off the culture, then try to treat the culture like a stepchild, because it's the... Now, he might have done something. He was asking the security, what did I do? What event was that? What scuffle possibly happened? He brought up the fact that if he would have gotten in a scuffle, especially recently, had he gotten into a scuffle, he would have known about it. This wouldn't have went under the radar. He wouldn't just known about it. The grand jury would know about it. He's really under a microscope right now. And he's claimed that this is racism, and he's going public with this stuff. He's not like hiding it. I think sometimes that may be Meek Mill's problem. Sometimes he thinks, well, if I show the world, it'll change. Not necessarily, bro. Not necessarily. I think like a lot of shit, had he not tried to be going against the system. Like, I had a PO that when I tell you she was horrible, let me tell you, I used to show it. This is when I was on probation, like from 19 to 22. But I had one that was so horrible. We would make my appointment for 9 o'clock. She wouldn't see me till 1 o'clock. I get rolled off of being tardy to work and let me lose my job. She'll threaten to violate me. Like, she was just disgusting. I never went on social media to bash her, though. I never took to a platform to attack her. It was unfair. And sometimes shit sucks, but, you know, you gotta know what battles worth fighting. I personally, but it does look wrong. And if the guy doesn't know why he's doing it, then instead of just saying, no, you have to leave, there should have been a little more caretaking. There should have been a little more discretion taken than just, okay, you can't be here. And I'm sure that they booked the hotel prior to getting there. He wouldn't have just showed up like, yo, I want a room here. So why not tell him, hey, you can't stay here at that time instead of waiting whenever the fuck you decided to wait. So that's what's happening with that. His lawyer is saying that they're looking to file legal paperwork, or whatever. It happens. I think that he should just stop going there. I wouldn't want to spend my hard-earned or even have any kind of affiliation with a place that treat me like that at all anyway. That's just what I feel about it. Whatever. A lot more happened in the culture. Like I said, I'm not a sports podcast, but I will note that the Six took it in 6. Game 6, Kawhi Leonard was a whole new Kawhi Leonard, played both sides of the ball and really just showed why he was the superstar. He has taken Toronto to the finals. First time in NBA history that the finals will be played on Canadian soil. This is a big deal. This is important. But what's also important is that the boy Drake is making more of an effort than ever to sort of, I guess you can say, grow his fan base or grow his awareness. He's not even growing it, bro, because he's already a big superstar, but he's showing out on the sidelines. He's excited. He was there when Miami won. He was there, you know, to see his best friend LeBron win. But right now, the Six is in a different mode. And I just pray that they win. I know they're not going to beat Golden State. That's not going to actually happen, but I love to see it, man. If they beat Golden State, oh my God. There's no KD, so you got a chance. Even though some people are saying that Golden State is better without KD, I said this last week and I'm going to say it this week. You don't need the LeBron killer if LeBron ain't there. KD just overkill. So, that's whatever. Rachel Roy and Dame Dash are in custody battle over their daughters. Rachel Roy is saying that Dame Dash is abusing drugs and he's a bully and you knew that about him when you got with him. Don't act like it's new now, baby. So, once again, like I said, that's just things that I've seen in the culture, things that I realized that was moving and grooving. And hopefully, you know, we can see more development with the baby. Hopefully the hotel company that discriminated against Meek gets what they got coming to them. And just everything that's moving in the culture. But until then, it's your boy Dapper Don Podcast.